Commissioner Glenn, we're ready to start.
Great, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. The board meeting of the Gateway Development Commission is now called to order. Today, we are holding a public meeting of the Gateway Development Commission's Board of Commissioners. Due to scheduling availability and the need to advance key commission business in a timely fashion, today's meeting is being held virtually via teleconference, with audio being live streamed from the Gateway Program website. The Commission is continuing to solicit comments from the public for today's virtual meeting. A form for soliciting these comments is also posted on the Gateway Program website for those who wish to submit a comment for today's meeting. Acting Secretary Caulfield, may I ask you to conduct the roll call and report on the public notice for today's meeting?
Thank you. Co-Chair Glenn?
Here.
Co-Chair Graywall-Verk?
Here.
Vice Chair Kosha?
Here.
Commissioner Barbas?
Here.
Commissioner Bauer?
Here.
Commissioner Dominguez?
Here.
Commissioner Zara?
Here.
We have a quorum. Adequate notice of today's regular public meeting of the Board of Commissioners of the Gateway Development Commission has been provided in accordance with the Commission's enabling legislation. The agenda and public documents pertaining to the board meeting have been made publicly available on the Gateway Program's website. Notice of the meeting was posted to the website 5 business days before the meeting, and public notice of the time and place of the meeting was provided to appropriate media outlets. A video recording of this meeting will be posted on the Gateway Program website.
Thank you, Mr. Caulfield. I want to welcome everybody to today's meeting of the Gateway Development Commission. Thank you for joining us remotely. The next item on today's agenda is a report on the minutes of the November 18, 2022 meeting of the board. I will now turn to Mr. Caulfield again for a report on the minutes of that meeting.
Thank you, Co-Chair. Copies of the minutes of the meeting of November 18th, 2022 were delivered in electronic form by myself to the governors of New York and New Jersey on November 23rd, 2022. The time for action by the governors of New York and New Jersey expired at midnight on December 9th, 2022, at which time actions recorded in the minutes went into full force and effect.
Thank you again. We will now turn to Chris Calori for a Gateway Development Commission update presentation. Thank you, and I think it's up on the screen, correct? Everybody has it? Okay,
it
perfect.
is.
Thank you.
Thank you, Co-Chair Glenn. Members of the Commission, welcome to the last board meeting of 2022. We appreciate your participation in today's meeting. As Co-Chair Glenn mentioned, we have a couple of key issues that we need to get in front of you for your consideration and approval. I'll talk about that in a second, but I wanted to just give you a quick overview of our work thus far this year. And you're familiar with all the stuff that you see on the screen, but I want to highlight for you 2 issues that have happened, or 2 action items that have taken place since our last board meeting. First one is GDC has now officially submitted a CRISI grant application to the FRA for Tonnelle Avenue Bridge and Utility Relocation Project. We have for the last 5 months told you and our members of the public about our intent to look to see if there's any early work we can do, and that is the vein in which we have submitted this application, and we will expect to hear from the FRA between now and July of 2023 on the status of our grant application. The next item, which I'll spend a minute talking about in the next slide, is before the end of the year, we'll also issue a request for qualifications for a project delivery partner. One of the key objectives and the key measures that the FDA uses in order to give us a full funding grant agreement is to ensure that we have the technical, financial, and legal capacities at GDC to execute on the Hudson Tunnel project. And our intent with the board's concurrence, obviously, and approval, is to essentially engage the private sector and solicit proposals from a whole host of folks, including DBEs, on a project delivery partner contract. Our objectives are straightforward. We want to make sure that GDC has the organizational and management capacity in order to efficiently and effectively deliver the HDP project. We also want to make sure that as we go through the delivery of the packages, that we're looking at innovative and flexible project delivery mechanisms for all our packages. And obviously, the technical and execution experience that the private sector brings to a project of this magnitude is important, and one which I know the board members want to leverage. And our expectation, again, is to make sure that we issue this RFQ with one of our project partners between now and the end of the year. At the last board meeting, I also gave you a presentation on a preliminary budget for 2023 and as required by the GDC statute. Today, in order to make sure that we present the operating budget funding agreements to our partners, the New Jersey, Amtrak, New York, and Port Authority, we wanted to make sure that we put this operating budget for your consideration and approval so that we can essentially be fully constituted and operationalized for 2023 as we work our way towards achieving a full funding grant agreement from the FTA. There is a short presentation today, and I'm happy to answer any questions. If not, Madam Co-Chair, I'm happy to turn it over to you. I'm sorry, I have one more. I forgot I have to walk you through the two items that we have on the agenda today. Obviously, in order to make sure that we operationalize GDC, we need to make sure that we have policies and administrative procedures in place for GDC as a whole. So we're asking you for delegation authority to the CEO to do just that. And as I laid out in the previous slide, we're also going to be asking you to consider and approve an operating budget for the GDC for fiscal year 2023. That ends my presentation. Thank you, Madam Co-Chair.
Thank you. Do any of the commissioners have any questions about anything that Chris discussed? Just one clarification. We do have, were the policies and procedures circulated to the board members ahead of the commissioners, ahead of the meeting?
Yes, Co-Chair Glenn, we had board briefings last week where we discussed this issue, and that is the premise under which we're bringing this.
Okay, so everybody has been fully briefed, and so if, again, I would just ask who any of the other commissioners have any questions about either of the two items that Chris mentioned or any of the general presentation. Don't see any hands, but I want to make sure that, okay, I'm assuming folks do not have questions. Thank you, Chris, for your update. Prior to voting on today's action items, I note for the record that the Commission has solicited comments from the public in advance of and during today's virtual meeting. A form for soliciting these comments was posted to the GDC website in advance of the meeting, and the comment form for virtual participation was available throughout today's meeting. The Commission received 7 virtual public comments by 5 o'clock on Sunday, December 11th, 2022. If any virtual comments are received during today's meeting, they will be distributed to the board and posted on the Gateway Program website after today's meeting. Again, I'm not seeing anything. Mr. Caulfield, in his role as acting board secretary, will now read into the record the names of those that submitted virtual public comments prior to the start of today's meeting, and all public comments received will also be filed in the Commission's records. Ed, can you?
Yes. Yes, thank you, Co-Chair. As you indicated today, we received 7 virtual comments. The first comment was from Joe Nolan of iCurry LLC. The second comment was from Brian Fritsch of Regional Plan Association. The third comment was Maddie DeCerbo of the Real Estate Board of New York. The fourth comment was from Leon Zaharis as an individual. The fifth comment was from John McHugh, also as an individual. The sixth comment was from William Galligan of East of Hudson Rail Freight Task Force, Inc. And the final comment was from Joseph Clift as an individual. As you indicated, these comments were collected on our website and were distributed to board members and posted to our website. Thank you.
Thank you. And again, I don't see any that have been submitted during the course of this meeting, so thanks. Let's move to the action items. The first action item before the board today is entitled Delegation of Authority to Adopt and Amend Administrative Policies. Do any of the commissioners wish to comment? Okay, I don't hear any. I make a motion to adopt the resolution. Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Hearing none, I move this motion to a vote. Mr. Caulfield, please call the roll.
Co-Chair Glenn,
Yes.
Co-Chair Graywall-Verk,
Yes.
Vice Chair Kosha,
Yes.
Commissioner Barbas,
Yes.
Commissioner Bauer,
Yes.
Commissioner Dominguez,
Yes.
Commissioner Zara.
Yes.
The motion passes.
Thank you. The second action item before the board today is entitled Adoption of Gateway Development Commission's Final Annual Operating Budget for Fiscal Year 2023. Do any of the commissioners wish to comment? I don't see any. I make a motion to adopt the resolution. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. I move this motion to a vote. Mr. Caulfield, please call the roll.
Co-Chair Glenn,
Yes.
Co-Chair Graywall-Verk,
Yes.
Vice Chair Kosha,
Yes.
Commissioner Barbas,
Yes.
Commissioner Bauer,
Yes.
Commissioner Dominguez,
Yes.
Commissioner Zara.
Yes.
The motion passes.
Thank you, Mr. Caulfield. There is no need for an executive session at this meeting, and there being no further business to conduct today, I make a motion to adjourn. Is this the fastest meeting ever? I make a motion to adjourn the fastest meeting ever of the Gateway Development Commission. Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I move this motion to a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
Yes.
Aye.
Thank
Aye.
you, everybody. Meeting is adjourned. Have a fantastic holiday.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you.
You as well. Thank you.